All right, we are back with reading, and we're going to try and finish our play today. So if you won't need your work text today, the book that you write in, you won't need that today, but you do need your reader book with the stories in it. So if you'll look in your book on page 31, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Act 2 from our play. And I do have 2 vocabulary words, and I'm not going to put these on the screen. There's 2 of them. One probably I'm sure you know. The other one you may not. The word wielded. The carpenter's son had wielded a hammer since he was 10 years old. Wielded. That means toted around, kept with him, showed everybody. That's what wielded means. And the word shocks. After cutting the stalks of wheat, he gathered and tied them into shocks to dry. So that's new to me. That must be some kind of a bundle. Like a shock would be a bundle. Okay. So if you remember in our in our play, that I was narrator 1, 2, and I was also the clerk. And then you were all the other voices. And remember, if I go too fast, if I say my part too fast, and you're not done saying your part, you can pause me and then play it after that. Because since I can't hear you, I don't know how long it takes you on the play, on your part. So remember, this king was very wise. Remember what happened. All right, so as we read this part of Act 2, this part of the play, I want you to be thinking about, what is the king really trying to find out with the task that he requires? Remember the task that he was requiring? Okay, so let's go ahead and start Act 2 on page 31. Are you ready? The second son reached the palace as the bells chimed for dinner. He was ushered into the dining room to eat with the king. I'm going to start on narrator 1. The second son flew at once to the task of clearing a great portion of his field before dark. On through the night he worked, even more quickly than his brother. As dawn broke, a blind man stumbled across his path. The second son led the blind man to the palace gates, bade him farewell, and returned to the wheat field. Just as the last wheat fell, a lame man hobbled up. The second son pulled the last shocks into a bundle and began tying it as the lame man stumbled away. Minutes later, the king drove up in his coach. And so the second son followed the path of his brother and returned home. Both brothers told their adventures to their mother and bade the youngest brother attempt the task. Before long, the guard at the gate was leading the youngest son to the throne room. The king and his daughter sat at the game of chess. The young man stood at the door, his heart melting at the sight of the lovely princess. The young man's heart pounded so hard in his own ears that he stepped back, fearing that he would hear it beating. When the game was over, the king set it aside and explained the trial to the boy. Bowing, the youngest son hurried to begin the task. The scythe flew as he harvested the grain, but the field stretched on and on. The king had given him the largest field of all to cut. The young man worked on through the night. The morning came and passed, and he continued working. The heat of noon beat down, and he worked on still. As evening approached, a blind man came stumbling down the road. The boy saw him from a distance and ran to help him. The two laughed and talked along the way. He ran back down the road to the field and continued to cut the wheat. Soon a lame man approached. Again the boy ran to help, offering his shoulder and joking and talking as he led the man to the palace. In the field, the golden wheat bent and swayed with the breeze. Barely half of it lay in bundles. And far up the road, the coach of the king raised dust as it approached. The boy fell in cutting more quickly than he had ever done before, but it was too late. The coach drew to a stop. Are you done? The blind man and the lame man that was the king. That was the test. It wasn't even the test of cutting the wheat. It was the test of help and wisdom and encouragement. That was the test. And the youngest son of all was the one that passed. All right. So let me look back here and see if I can find a couple of questions to ask, just to make sure you understand. So, what was the king really trying to find out with the task he required? Who was going to be helpful? That's what he was trying to find out. Exactly. Let's look at page 32. How does the second son treat the blind man differently than his older brother did? Well, the older brother just pointed him in the direction. Remember, that was the first act. The second brother kind of helped him there, right? So let's find, on page 32, let's find the conversation between the second son and the blind man. The second son and the blind man says, "What do you hear?" And the blind man said, "I seek the palace." The second son said, "I have just time to guide you there, and then I must hurry back to my task." So it was kind of let me take you there, but I got to hurry, I got to go back. That was the conversation between the two. So what does the mother say the youngest son has learned that hints or foreshadows what might happen? Remember, she said to her youngest son, "You have learned the ways of wisdom." And that kind of gives us a clue of foreshadowing as to what may happen in the future of this story. All right, let's see. All right, so I guess that's pretty much it. Those were all the questions that I wanted to ask you. So this is what I want you to do for your assignment today. I want you to get a sheet of paper. It can be construction paper or any kind of paper you have. It doesn't matter. And I want you to trace your foot. Try to do it with your shoes on. It doesn't matter either. If you want to do it with your bare foot, that's okay too. Put your foot on there and trace the outline of your foot with a pencil or a pen or something. Because these three sons set out, after they knew their mother was taken care of, they set out on a journey to find their fortune and to gain the princess's hand in marriage. To find out what they wanted, they set out on this journey by foot. So I want you to trace your foot with a pencil or something, cut it out, and just have an outline of your foot. And I want you to write just a short story in there about a journey of your own and whether you found your fortune or whether you went back home. just write something in there about a journey that you've taken on your own to find something. And let's just see what you say on that one, okay? I'd love to see a picture of it. If you can send it to me, or put it in a folder and then I'll pick it up from you maybe, and I'll get that. So I'm not going to grade this assignment, but I want to read about your journey. Okay? All right, that'll be all for today.